Have you ever checked a business metric like email opens, Instagram follows, page views, and then when you do, feel this instant pit in your stomach and your shoulders and the tension and not because you're thinking that number through, but because your body is responding first? What if the number isn't the problem, but what you do in the moment after that reaction is? This is a moment that happens really quietly for most people. Nothing's breaking, nothing's going wrong. You just looked at a number. Views on something you were sure was going to really hit home. Sales for something that you've lovingly nurtured and put hours of yourself into. Now the day feels very different for you. Not ruined, but recalibrated. You haven't decided anything yet, but something has already shifted. For most people, the number itself isn't actually the problem. What matters is what happens the minute you take a good look at that number. You see the number and an emotion spikes. Disappointment, panic, doubt, urgency. Your body then follows. Tight chest, that horrible stomach drop feeling, racing thoughts that just won't stop. And before you can consciously choose any actions, your behaviour has already started to change. You hesitate now. You're second-guessing yourself. And you're quietly rethinking what you were actually planning to do today. Sometimes you'll push harder. Sometimes you'll pull back. And sometimes you'll completely come to a stop. You'll just stop talking about this thing altogether. All of that happens incredibly fast, and not because you are being dramatic, not because you are bad at this business thing, but because your nervous system has already decided that somehow this number is related to your safety. At that point, my friend, you are not responding to data. You are not leading your business with fact. You're responding to your nervous system and something it's been triggered by. Now, here's the thing. If you don't slow down enough to notice that response and get curious, it's going to feel like the number is the problem. Am I right? Of course the number's the problem. You're the problem. You didn't do the thing that needed to happen to get the number to wherever it was you wanted it to. You start going inward and blaming yourself or your team. Low number, bad mood. End of story. But that is actually where things are going a little sideways for you. The shift actually happens in the moment. Your emotion is getting loud and your body reacts. And you quietly choose to change what you're going to do next. That is the moment that numbers become numbers, neutral things. And that is the part that really matters to the leadership in your business. It's not the number that's costing you momentum in your business. It's what you're doing because of how that number has made you feel. Now, when that reaction goes unexamined, it starts running things in the background in your unconscious mind. You will find yourself doing things like completely changing your offers, rewriting your website for the 14th time, hiring somebody else to do something that probably doesn't need to be done. Your energy changes, your offers change, your visibility changes, all because of this reaction. Now, this is not a dramatic thing. It feels like a very reasonable and logic-feeling response, right? And over time, as a result, those automatic reactions that feel ever so logical become the norm. Those reactions harden into patterns that feel strategic, but are actually protective. So the most important question to ask isn't, was that number really good or bad? It's, okay, there's that number. What do I do next? Let's just pause there. Let's get curious about that number. And just to add to the irony for a second, I could ask you to like this video right now, just so that I know that I'm doing a good job, which would be pretty funny given what we've been talking about. But I do want to know, has this episode hit a nerve, made you rethink, or made you recognize a moment that you have lived recently? You could hit like, just as a sign of solidarity. And if no one does hit like, I promise I will survive. This is a 7-part series and it's going to build. So if this has resonated and you do want to stay with this thread, then why not hit subscribe? That way you won't ever have to remember to come back. YouTube will remind you. In the next episode, we're going to look at exactly what most people actually do in that moment where we're shrinking and that emotional reaction is the place from where we're responding. Why does shrinking, disappearing, overreacting, redoing everything feel super sensible in that moment, but quietly costs you information and the curiosity you actually need? For now though, let's just take a deep breath. Grab your journal and journal out anything that came up for you. Take care. I'll see you in the next episode.